Hello, I'm back again. So, we got a review today of Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor. And now I have to admit that this is one that I have tried before, and I am totally enjoy it. That was bad English there. Sorry. I totally enjoy Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor. Um, I guess if malt liquor is going to be fine, it would be this one. But I've probably had my first Mickey's when I was about, let's just say 21. Um, I had a friend that I think I had bought some crap like King Cobra or something like that, and or Schlitz or something. And I had a friend that said, "Hey, well, if you like malt liquor, you should try Mickey's." And so I think I tried some soon afterwards and enjoyed it. And I mean, that was more than 20 years ago. Um, but anywho, um, we will pop this beer here. I think I'm going to have to pause it because as of yet I do not have something to put my phone on, something to video record it, and I don't know what to use. Um, that has to be my homework of using something to do this. So until then, I'm going to pause it to open up the Mickeys. All right, so there we go. It's opened, and let's see what we have here. Try it. It's very good. It's nice and cold, and it doesn't really tell me anything about the calorie intake on this. So that's something that would have to be Googled. Maybe it says there. 12 fluid ounces. It says it's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at Mickey's Brewing Company. But no, I don't see any kind of calorie intake. I think I looked it up one time and it was fairly moderate. I think it was in the 120s or something like that, calories. That's probably something I should have looked up before I recorded this. That being said, it's very cold. It's very good. It's refreshing. There's still that bitter taste of malt liquor, as there always will be. But this one, to me, is a little more clean than some of the others I've had. I do enjoy Old English. I do enjoy Schlitz. But to me, this is a little more forgiving. Um, those, it really starts to taste very bitter after a while, but I still enjoy them. Another thing about this, and this is the truth with me anyway, before I embark on a quart of Schlitz or Old English, usually I have to, or even St. Ides, I guess that's the kind of more flavored though too. I usually have to have a couple under my belt to not taste it so much. With Mickey's, it's not that bad. It's I could start off the night with a Mickey's. Not sure how long this has been in business. I think it's been a while, but it's a very good malt liquor if you want to try a good malt liquor. Um, so, yeah, it's as far as malt liquors go, it's probably my favorite. And the bottle is cool, nice and green. Oh, and another thing they have is under the caps. You'll see Mickeys.com. So I'm sure you can go to that website. Um, but under the caps, they have pictures that you're supposed to have to figure out. It's like a puzzle. Let's see what this is. It's hard to see where this is starting and ending. All right, so that's that looks like coronavirus or something. It's like screw cold out. That can't be right. No. That looks like a snowflake now that I think about it. Or no snow. No snow box out? No snow box in. It's hard to see. I can usually get about 70% of these, but this one's kind of tough. No snowflakes boxed out? I don't know. No freeze out? Something like that. Anyway, these are always interesting to do. They get harder as the more Mickeys you have. Let's have another sip here. That's good. That's refreshing. That is one of those malt liquors you can probably drink all day, whereas you can't drink all day with Oldie unless you, I don't know, that's a headache waiting to happen. Okay, so I guess one thing I want to talk about is, and I'm sure this happened about a week ago, but I'm still, I don't want to say reeling over it, but still on my mind is the death of Eddie Van Halen. And everybody has done a video on it or talked about it. Although I think the younger the people are, the less they care. They didn't grow up with him. But this one is hitting me kind of hard, more than most, I guess. Because of the, let's see, when it was 1985, 1984, I was about 9. And then when Hagar came in and 5150 came out, I was around 11. And I was big into MTV at the time. So seeing these people on MTV, you emulate them. You see their faces, their smiling faces. They're heroes to you. And when you see that, when you see that they're passing away. Now, I want to say something about Eddie Van Halen as far as his death goes. He died at 65, but something tells me that, he should have lived longer. Whether it be the pick that he used that he proposes gave him cancer, or whether it be the smoking and the drinking he did. I read somewhere that he was drinking and smoking since he was 12. Plus, that probably carried on into his adult life, of course. And I heard that he got clean with the drinking a while back, but I think he still smoked. As a matter of fact, I saw an article, and the picture of him was him walking into his chemo treatment therapies because he was getting treated for throat cancer for 5 years. And he had a bag in one hand, and he had a vape in another. So that tells me he was still smoking, vaping, using tobacco products, even going through his chemo treatments. If that's not just tempting the hands of fate, I don't know what is. The life of an alcoholic, and I should know, and a smoker. I smoked for a decade or so. You tempt the hands of fate every time you take a drink, and I'm sure, and I think I've read somewhere that he accepts his hand in this wholeheartedly. Anybody should that tempts the hands of fate. So no one can fault him for that. But I don't know. Something tells me, like, if the doctors were to say, you have to stop drinking, or you won't live another, 5 years or something like that. Uh, I think I would pick up some non-alcoholic beer if I had to, or some other crutch. When I quit smoking, I used sunflower seeds to do it. It helped. Although I used to get salt sores on my tongue and terrible dry breath or something from the salt of the sunflower seeds. I mean, I think you do too much of that, you'll probably get cancer too. But anyway, yeah, you gotta choose what you think is right, and it looks like he got rid of the alcohol, but I'm not so sure if he got rid of the smoking. I don't really know, and by that time it might have been too late. Who knows? Either way, it was definitely a loss. It's a loss of my childhood to a degree to see these people that, um, like Michael Jackson died, and I liked Michael Jackson a lot. Don't get me wrong; he was probably top three of my favorite entertainers of all time. And when he died, it was sad. I think it was 2010, but um, it was kind of different than this. I don't know what this was. I don't know. It was different. With Michael Jackson, he was into some weird stuff. He was into drugs, the prescription kind. Um, he was a weird fellow. When he passed, it was almost like, well, I kind of expected that. Plus, he kind of dropped off, although Van Halen dropped off for a while, but it was different. But when I see Eddie Van Halen died, I don't know. I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it is. Maybe someone else can put their finger on it. Why this one stings a little worse um, than like Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston or something like that. But I just don't know. Anyway, definitely talented. I think I have a greatest hits from them, um, but I respect a lot of the other stuff on their albums too. Um, I can't really tell. If I was to compare, let's just talk about Van Halen. If I was to compare who I like better, the Van Hagar days or the Van Halen days with David Lee Roth, I want to say that I, well, no, I probably like the David Lee Roth better, and I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, but it's different. To me, it's like comparing apples and oranges. I think Eddie Van Halen had gotten into more of the keyboard writing when Hagar came along, and I listened to Dreams the other night off of 5150. That is a great keyboard song. It's a great song, and it's well, I was playing some Van Halen for my wife, and she doesn't like hard rock. We don't like the same. We don't like a lot of things. Let's just put it that way. But um, we don't have a lot in common as far as music goes. However, um, that I was more able to, I believe, to put on Van Hagar stuff like Dreams. I think I put on Love Comes Walking In. I put on a couple more that were more radio friendly. So it became more of a pop thing, I guess, when Hagar came along. But it still was great. I mean, people matured, I think, just as we all do. Um, Things get more, I don't know, happy and friendly. But I love some of that David Lee Roth stuff too. I mean, I think my favorite song from the whole Van Halen is Jamie's Crying. Um, that's just great with Eddie Van Halen on that guitar, and his riffs just sound like someone crying. But it's almost mockingly, and that song is almost mocking. Um, it's just a great song. But yeah, yeah. there was great points of both parts of the career, and Eddie Van Halen, I would probably say top three uh, rock guitarists of all time. Um, I mean, I know that's a matter of opinion, but to me, he was. Um, but obviously, my favorite is David Gilmour. You know, Eddie Van Halen had a lot of flash, a lot of speed, um, and a lot of feel too. He did. I mean, just like the Jamie's crying thing, it sounded like she was crying. But David Gilmour, um, just the feeling that's in his he's not the fastest guitarist you ever heard, but just the feeling that you get in his guitar work is great. Um, but nothing taken away from Eddie Van Halen. And then the more I look into it, the more I realize he was a down to earth guy. I listened to interviews, and he. I also hear that we're reading stories that he could be quite an asshole, from what I understand, or a jerk. From what I understand, he could say some things, and I think a lot of that was the drinking, and I could vouch for this too. Uh, I think the worst days where you're more of a mean person, I guess, for lack of a better term, is the days where you're not drinking. Um, like I'll tell you right now, like I can drink and be mean, but I can be just as mean when I'm not drinking. And I think this, and I've read this too, that a lot with Eddie Van Halen and the alcoholics out there, it goes down to insecurities. When it might be an interior thing where you think if you can't even kick the habit, uh, this thing has got you, you know, and it controls you, and it makes you feel insecure. I'm not good enough. They're trying to take my girlfriend. She's trying to cheat on me. They think they're a better guitarist than me. They think they could do this band without me. It's all that, you know. It's all that. I had that problem too when I was younger, and I still do. I still do. It's not as pronounced as it was when I was younger. I've matured a bit, and I don't drink as much, but it's still there. It is still there. Um, I guess a good thing to do is to either not drink or build self-confidence, but to also have friends and a wife or someone you love that you know that she won't stray. You know that she won't stray. Um, and reassurance is that the love you have for each other, and her showing that, and you showing that to her, building that bond, I think is good. But it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to have confidence when you drink. It really is. It's tough to have confidence when you drink. And the days that you don't drink, it's tough. Um, so I always said that um, the drink. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, it had something to do with. Oh yeah, and I think I read this somewhere. I can't remember who, but they said that alcohol, it like you think it gives you life. I think it was Gregory Price, the pastor, I think. But anyway, he said that you think putting that bottle to your mouth gives you life, you know, because you feel more energetic, you know, your inhibitions are down. But what it does is take your life away, um, and it does. I've also said that basically alcohol, when you drink it, you borrow from tomorrow today. So, and that's physically, that's mentally, that's emotionally. You borrow from tomorrow today. So, um, it's tough though. It's tough to kick the habit. As I'm sitting here looking at a Mickey's beer that I love, And but I think if you keep it in moderation, it's not as bad. You just got to keep it in moderation. And that's one thing, another thing too, about me, about Eddie Van Halen, about millions of people in this world, is the functioning of it all. He was a highly functioning alcoholic, where he could go on stage, uh, he could do that and function. And people hold down careers, jobs, go to school, get degrees. I'm living proof of that. So, but in the long run, it's not good for you, and you got to keep it under control. So, but while we're on the subject of Eddie Van Halen, I wonder, not to dig at him, but he used to put his cigarette, he would light it, and he would put it on the neck of his guitar, and then it would just burn out while he was playing, and then he would do another one. So it's almost like he was constantly smoking in some degree or another a cigarette, even when he wasn't. Let's say, okay, you got to do a song, you don't smoke, but he was still smoking to some degree. So I think a lot of it probably was the alcohol, the drugs. I'm sorry, not the drugs. I don't know if he was on drugs, but the alcohol, the smoking, and maybe that pick thing too. Um, I mean, you never know. Putting copper in your mouth. So, okay. Well, enough about that. Eddie Van Halen will be missed. A good thing is that he was a Catholic, and he was a believer in God, so I think we'll see him upstairs. And he brought us great music. And when it comes to bad things that he's ever done, as far as not behavior, but if he had attitudes with, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it does if you cost people their lives or something like that, but he didn't. Just the same with an alcoholic, like with me or somebody. Um, you do things, you got to get it under control. Life is a learning process, and we just got to live and learn. And from what I understand, he did. He kicked it. And I heard an interview with him. I've heard a few at various stages of his career. And he seemed like a down-to-earth good guy. And I think that makes it worse too. He seemed like someone that would just talk to you if you wanted to talk. If you just saw him on the street, he wouldn't try to duck out. But anyway, seemed like a good guy, great musician. He will be missed. And I guess that's about all I have to say about that. And go get some Mickey's. It's excellent malt liquor if you're in a malt liquor mood. Okay.